All right, guys, so I've made one final modification to this. Fish are coming tomorrow. I wanted you to see this. I wanted to do this from the beginning, but I ran out of fittings, so I had to find time to get by Lowe's and pick up another assembly. So you can see now I've got massive pressure on that. That's about as much as I can give it without killing my pressure to my two recirculating lines. But if that doesn't make sense to you, I'll try to explain it. But you can just watch the first 4 videos in this series on this conversion from a wicking bed to a pond system. But I keep getting concerns in the comments about stagnation and why don't you use air stones. And again, I want to start over here because a lot of times people are looking at things online and they don't understand the totality. I want to make sure I'm explaining it. The first thing I want you to look at, this pond gets some shade, but a lot of sun, an awful lot of sun. And I keep hearing words about algae. As you can see, it's loaded with duckweed. I want you to look at this. Okay, I don't know how well the camera's showing that, but I can see straight down to the cinder blocks that are below that stand-up pipe. That water is as clear as any pond water I've ever seen. It really is. You can see straight down. If you look here when I pull back this duckweed, it's just clear. There's my hand to demonstrate how clear this is. And this has been this way for a long time. This pond down here, which is and this is part of why I wanted to do this, might help understand the total picture. This pond down here gets nailed with it all day long. And you can see because of the disturbance, there's like almost like a tidal line, right? Of where the duckweed and the other water plants and all, it's wide open. So the sun's hitting that all day. As you can see, that water is not tanked up with algae. You see little goldfish swimming around in there and what have you. I don't know if you can see them online or not, but they're in there. I can see them. They want to be fed is what it is. And it's clear. And you can see there's extreme agitation going on there. That's the central pump to the whole system right there. That line right there passes through. That's the line that goes underground. This is venting pressure off it because I don't need that much of it going up there. I just need enough to keep the circulation going. So this water that's coming out of this pond is highly oxygenated. It runs underground up here, comes around here, and for 3 years, it came out of that faucet right there and went into this pool at about the same speed that water's coming out. For 3 years, this system has been this stable. For 3 years, the only time we ever lost some fish was during a power failure when that water stopped coming out. Well, actually, that water was where it was coming out, stopped coming out. And they were some hybrid bluegill that were nowhere near as resilient as the other fish that are in there. So this system, 3 years from there to there stable. All we've done is put in that bypass, and now we're running that input line. Instead of coming straight back into here, we're coming over here. There's the whole assembly that brings it over here. And we're bringing it into here. I know the rate of flow I've been using. I showed you my highly sophisticated calibration tool, which is a cup and counting by 1,000, 2,000 in the last video. So I knew exactly where to bring it in here as long as everything kept running was fine. So that was that. This system, without the addition of the second pump, probably would have been okay, but we did want some additional insurance, and we wanted to take an opportunity here. What we have up here now is an opportunity to create a second point of extreme agitation of the water, extreme oxygen infiltration into the water. Instead of just that agitation now, we're able to take, you can see that is just blowing and going off that little $50 submersible pump that's sitting right down there. It's only about a foot down there, sitting on top of a block, a cinder block half, so that it's not going to suck gook up off the bottom of the pond. That overflows to here. These are the 2 valves that I showed you the settings on. And they've been here a week now. And as you can see, we have no beginnings to algae. All these pond plants we pulled out of the pond are helping with that till we get the shade up. But in the end, we're getting very, very clear water out of this system. And that's the totality of this system. And I think that things like, well, you should put a Venturi in or you should put air stones in. You're trying to make something more complex than it needs to be. And what you should try to do with a system is you should try to build it as simple as you possibly can. And then if that simplicity is not sufficient, what you do after that is you add more things to make the system sufficient to do what you want it to do. And that way you end up putting the minimal amount of what's necessary into a system. If we needed to put air stones in here, if we had problems that didn't go away, the power's right there. Okay, we could do that all day long. We're trying to minimize the amount of power we draw off this building because it has to run our main aquaponics system back there. We only have a single circuit out to this building. We're trying to avoid running a second circuit. We'll do it if we have to. So hopefully this makes sense. And then I wanted to do this one more time because I've said this like 5 times now. I've said this in the comments. This is not, N-O-T, not an aquaponics system. Aquaponics system is back there in the greenhouse and the aviary. This is an aquatic system. This is aquatics. This is fish and pond plants. We may grow some things in here, like one year I grew a ton of water chestnut in there. They're just awful hard to find the chromes, and we ate them all. But we may do some water chestnuts and some other water plants, but we're not doing ebb and flow beds. We're not doing wicking beds. We're not doing deep water raft beds here. These are nursery tanks so that we can take young fish, put them in here, grow them to a specific size so they're like that big when they go in there. I don't want to put them in my big pond down there with catfish 4 times as big of them that will eat them. Put them in here and grow them out till they're big enough to be resilient, and then they can either move back there to the aquaponics system or down to the other end of the property, and they can go into my in-ground pond, which is about, I don't know, it's about 1/10 of an acre. So there you go. That's the system, and once we get some fish ready to go into it, we'll show you that.